With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
To be the best, one must beat the best. Ovals, road courses, the streets of iconic cities, race after race, the top sim racing IndyCar stars will battle it out. In sim racing, it doesn't get any better than this. This is their battleground, for the checkered flag, for the glory, for the right to say they are the best. The cars and stars of the Lionheart IndyCar Series, presented by Butt Kicker, are ready to race.
After a thriller in the Chicagoland Speedway, the 2021 Lionheart IndyCar Series heads to Wisconsin. Just 3 races are left to go in the campaign, with 2 road courses on deck for a high-speed, adrenaline-filled double-point showdown. Before we duel on the streets of Detroit, the IRA teams have made the 1-hour drive north of Milwaukee to America's National Park of Speed. This is Road America, and this is the HyperX Grand Prix of Road America. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV for coverage of round 19 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperxgaming.com, and don't forget to use the promo code Lionheart15, that's LIONHRT15, for 15% off all orders. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, delighted to be joined today by Lorenzo Bonder. You can follow along with live timing and scoring powered by our partners at ATVO by heading to RaceSpot.tv/Indy. Follow your favorite team and drivers at that link. Just to correct myself as well, it's not round 19. The season has flown on by since we started back in March. We are racing for round 20 in a 22-race calendar. It's time, though, to dive into our Butt Kicker pre-race show. And Lorenzo, before we dive into the nitty-gritty of stuff, how exciting! Road America, final 3 races of the season. Can't wait to see what's going to go on here. Must remember, Adam Blocker, the 3-time Lionheart champion, comes into this race, a 3-time winner at Road America as well. He's looking good to make it 4 in a row in terms of the title. Can he make it 4 in a row on track here at Road America? We're about to find out.
It's going to be an interesting one, Arjuna. I think a few talking points have to be mentioned. First, Connor Harrington time is running out. You don't have any more oval tracks anymore, outside of the final round, of course. But if you really want to gain some ground and be closer to Adam Blocker to that final race, you got to capitalize in these 2 races. They are very important.
And mathematically, it is possible, hypothetically, that Blocker could win the championship today. There are 180 points maximum on offer heading out of Road America, but it's somewhat unlikely. It would really require some disaster for Blocker. Let's put it that way. I tell you what, though, so excited about what we've got in store for you here today. 31 laps in Road America. And it's been a long season. I said that before. We started back in March, round 20 here today, the beginning of November. So excited about what lies ahead. It will be an off week before we head to the streets of Belle Isle, the duel at Detroit, and then Auto Club, the double-point, adrenaline-filled thriller to close off our season. Of course, the final of the Triple Crowns as well. Adam Blocker looks to make it 3 of 3. Interesting to note, it's not just him trying to make it 3 of 3. We've also got Mark Cohen in the Lionheart Retro Series trying to do the same. Let's take a look at the driver standings presented by Butt Kicker. Lorenzo mentioned it. Harrington has got to get a move on if he wants to try and keep the title fight open, but it's not really a realistic chance if we're being honest. It's a mathematical chance of becoming a champion. And we should say, full credit to Connor Harrington, Lorenzo. In any other season, he would be a worthy championship winner. It just so happens that Adam Blocker has been averaging a podium in 2021. There's not much you can do about that.
No, you cannot. There's nothing unless you have a miracle store for the final 3 races for you to actually get over there to the promised land. But what Adam Blocker's been doing, I think, is a masterclass of IR18s in this season. I find it hard to see somebody doing just as well as Adam Blocker's been doing in Lionheart history. So I would say this is probably the best season a single driver has ever had in Lionheart history so far, and we're witnessing history as each and every race we go by.
That's what's the great thing about being here in the commentary booth. Yes, we don't get to be out on track. Some of our competitors might not worry so much about it if we're being completely honest. Here's a look at the team standings. And while Harrington has been consistent, his teammates have been consistent as well as we take a look at these team standings presented by HyperX. Adrenaline Motorsports Red, the defending champions, well, they would have been very much aided if Adam Blocker had joined them. Adam Blocker by himself for Adrenaline Powerslide sits 8th in the team standings, I should say. Gives you an indication of just how dominant he's been. The fight going on for 3rd in the championship, the Drivers' Championship, has 2 Adrenaline drivers and 1 of the private label Team Hype drivers, but they have been ultra consistent in 2021. 3 races to go to close things out. Might be done and dusted heading out of Road America and into the streets of Belle Isle. Here's a look at the rookie standings presented to us by butt kicker Henry Bennett, who midway through the season was in a much closer fight with Jason Brophy. Now finds himself more than 100 points clear. This is a title that could also be decided with 2 races to go. If Brophy struggles on the road courses, we know he's not the biggest fan of a road course, but we know just how strong he can be on the ovals, and that's why, if he's within double point striking range heading to the final round, never say never.
Yeah, and the problem is, I think these 2 tracks, you have to be very precise where driving. More Belle Isle than Road America. You can get away with Road America a little bit. Of course, the tire improvements made on the road side, I think, helps basically any driver that had difficulties with the rear end just losing way too much to make it easier to catch them with more simple job. It's going to be an interesting one, but I think Bennett had this one in the money.
Razbas still close with Brophy. Razbas and Taylor fighting for Retro Series titles. Taylor fighting for a Speedway Series title as well. So, 2 fights being... Oh, wow, I'm getting myself all sorts of tongue-twisted there. That's the beauty of live broadcasting. We'll move on forward, though, to our series details presented by Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of a breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz, and don't forget to use the promo code Minus 273 LHRS15 for 15% off all orders. Drivers fighting for just under $9,000 in cash and prizes with a custom fixed setup built by RaceSpot's own and the Lionheart setup guru, Andrew Kinsella. He'll be racing today. Of course, we are campaigning in the Stellara IR18. Crucially, though, Lorenzo, you mentioned it just earlier. New tires have been the name of the game over the past 12 months here. And for the first time, I really think we are going to see the black sidewall primary tire be the preferred option for the competitors. There's also a red mark alternate tire. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more grippy early on, but it will wear out a little bit faster. It will be preferred in qualifying. Very much, though, you want to get those reds off as soon as you can in the race itself.
And also, the one thing you really don't want to be in the reds is fighting for position, right? Because the drop-off, especially at the second half, because the tires, since we're going to be talking about that later, I think the tires have a really big drop-off about 5 or 6 laps in. So the blacks one actually becomes the premier compound to make up that ground that you really want. So you have to capitalize every single lap. So I would not disagree to see the blacks be more used than the red ones today. I agree 100%.
strategy is going to be blown wide open as a result. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the history of this race at America's National Park of Speed. It's been a staple on Lionheart competitions, an 8th trip. The only season we didn't head to America's National Park of Racing was in our inaugural season. Since then, it's been a fixture. As mentioned before, Adam Blocker has won 3 in a row at this track. In his quest for a 4th consecutive title, will he make it 4 in a row as well? Of course, only once has pole position not dominated to reach victory lane. And when I say dominated, in 4 of 7 races, there have been no lead changes. Smallest margin of victory, just over 4.5 seconds.
It's insane to think it that way, right, Arjuna? The smallest margin being 4 seconds, then just see other tracks where the difference was 1 second, 2 seconds. So, but the good thing is, I think Adam Blocker today, if he's the favorite, he has drivers that could match him in this race, and I think they are in budget, especially from the private label team Hype. And one guy should be looking forward to break that streak of Blocker might be Phil Krause.
That's what I was thinking as well. The Wisconsin native who lives in Appleton, Wisconsin, always quick, and he's been a showcase driver since he debuted just a couple of races ago here in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. Here's a look, though, at our track, just over 4 miles in length. You don't get the indication of the up and down nature. In fact, that's not Road America, is it?
Oh, that's the Red Bull Ring, I think.
That's what I thought. Unfortunately, a little bit of mix-up there. That's, again, the beauties of live broadcasting. Things don't always go according to your plans. We'll move on, though, and take a look at the pictures of the track. Qualifying underway. Drivers get 10 minutes, the track to themselves, it's not 2 flying laps, excuse me, that's an official race. Here instead, they get 4 flying laps, so plenty of opportunity, but it's on the race fuel setting, so they do have to burn off some fuel, and that's what I think you tend to see here in Lionheart is drivers taking that time to build up the speed onto that final lap and really try and make sure they put in a good qualifying lap time. I tell you what, if we can get the chance, let's see if he's going to be coming across the line to start a lap. It is Andrew Kinsella across the line, the setup wizard. Let's take a lap on board here at Road America. In towards turn number 1, brake as late as you can and use all of the track, both on the inside and then the outside. Be careful not to kick up some grass on the outside as you plunge yourself in towards turn 3. Brake early, get yourself turned in, and roll onto this long back straightaway. One of your primary passing opportunities. Do you need to make sure that you're using the push to pass or push to defend? If you're using it both ways, you need to be very active in using that extra horsepower to push you down the straight. Braking at the 2, you can see Kinsella using the track on the outside to open up the corner and climb his way under the Corvette bridge. Braking just before the bridge and trying not to understeer. There you'll see Kinsella just a little bit more understeer than he would have wanted, and then flat to the floor coming through turn number 7. Hurrying down the hurry downs, it's another downhill braking zone. Have to be careful not to lock the inside left tire as you come under the left-hand 90 degree and under the bridge into the carousel. Couple of different approaches here. You can see Kinsella almost going for the double apex where you run a little bit wide and then cut back in and getting now onto the power and in towards the kink. Maximum commitment, maximum reward. Kinsella doesn't use all of the track there, which is an interesting thing to see, but you will see cars getting wide, maybe a bit of disaster. Into Canada corner, braking at the 3, hard all the way down the gears into first, and careful here not to light up the rear tires. Penultimate corner, Bill Mitchell bend. Watch the curb on the left and the curb on the right. They can give you a little bit of side pod damage. And into the final corner where less is more, because it's a long climb out of the final corner, up the hill and underneath the NTT bridge to set a lap time. Kinsella looks for a 1:46.089, the time to beat. And as he crosses the line, he goes faster. It's a 1:45.503. It does put him up into 15th position. 2 minutes left on the clock. Great to have a little bit of an onboard look there. Connor Harrington has set the benchmark, a 1:44.404. He is joined on the front row by Phil Krause. What were you saying there, Lorenzo?
Spend that house of Krause to win. I'm just kidding.
Oh! Ryan Otis says, thank you very much. It's not going to be a private label Team Hype lockup of the front row, at least for now. I think Adam Blocker is on a fast lap now, so I think he came down to get some tires last time. Let's see what he can do as he works his way in through turn 7.
Excuse me. I was just gonna say, if you think the first lap is not fast, the second one is usually the fastest lap of those two tires in the qualifying set. So expect the second lap to be the best one. So that lap that you saw from Kinsella, really good one. But if you get your points right, you can basically be a full second faster by just following the same line. But I think Kinsella had a little bit of an issue, as we're still looking at Blocker through kind of the corner.
And Blocker has 50 seconds left, so it will be this lap and done for the defending champion. One hand on a 4th consecutive trophy. He is on his final flying lap, so this is what you'd expect. He got some opportunity to build up the temperature in the tires out of the final corner. Here comes the number 1 car. Looking to make it 4 in a row at Road America. What's the time going to be? It's a 44.404 to beat. It's only a 6.70, good enough for a top 5. It is, though, Connor Harrington that looks to have provisional pole position. Only 15 seconds left here, Lorenzo. What are you expecting here at Road America then? 27 cars have set qualifying lap times. There are a couple of cars with end-of-line penalties. It's going to be hard work for them to carve their way through the field.
It's going to be a hard work, especially if you're in the middle portion of the field. I think in my opinion, if you're in the middle, like P12 to P20, your game is safe fuel. Because I think one of the biggest things here is going to be saving fuel and make it to the end.
Well, let's go trackside then in Road America. Round 20 of the Lionheart IndyCar Series is ready to go. 31 laps of flat-out action here in Road America. And so here's a look top to bottom at your butt kicker starting grid. It is Connor Harrington that puts it on pole position. The 44 car, lots of 4s in the time. It's a 1:44.404. Ryan Otis, 2/10 off the pace, matches the time of Philip Kraus for the private label Team Hype. The Lionheart Retro Series King will start on the outside of the front row. Phil Kraus, Matt Taylor, row number 2. Champion-elect Adam Blocker inside of Chris Fowler. Great qualifying performance for the number 20 machine. With Henry Bennett and Joshua Chin, they came to blows just a couple of rounds ago. They'll be alongside each other 7th and 8th positions. Lionel Callisto and Adam Frazier 9th and 10th, with James Brandt and Brian Beard on row number 6. Mike Rasmas and Tyler Groff for Graphics LPM 13th and 14th. Jason Brophy in the Rookie of the Year fight has some work to do back in 15th position. He'll be alongside Michael O'Brien. Andrew Kinsella, 1.1 seconds off the pace. He'll be alongside Stefan Larkamp. Barrett Rolfe, not known for being a strong qualifier and continues to struggle. This time it's on a road course. He'll be alongside Paul Jenkins on the edge of the top 20. Robert Malechka III will be in 21st alongside Matt Houston in 22nd. Joe Branch and the Coca-Cola machine inside of Alexis Newsom for factory backed. Scott Holmes, Ricky Harding 25th and 26th. I believe Scott Holmes has an end-of-line penalty, so he'll drop to the tail end of the grid. Tony Showant, Brian Carey 27th and 28th. Carey has an end-of-line penalty of his own. Plenty of work for the Canadian to do. Aaron Morgan, Luis Gonzalez Nunez, no lap time set there. Neither do Mike Rigney set lap times here today. So we are ready to race in Road America. We have plenty of time to work our way through some of our featured onboards because it's a full pace lap here at Road America. 4 miles. It does mean a little bit of fuel saving will be required for these drivers. With that said, though, let's go ahead and walk you through our featured onboards here today. Andrew Kinsella has the HyperX on board. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Henry Bennett has the Carnox on board, makers of the finest esports gaming chairs. We've got your back. Visit carnox.com. With the -273 on board, it's Jay Brandt. -273, the premier naming card in gloves. Visit -273.biz. And Aaron Morgan, who is elected not to take to the start. I wonder if there's technical issues. Was meant to have the Espos design on board. Get yourself a racing identity. We'll get word as soon as we can. So 31 laps here, Lorenzo. Fuel window anywhere from 11 to 12 laps. But crucially, we were talking about it earlier, it's going to be the tires that are the difference maker here. Relatively cool, and I say that because it's mostly cloudy here. So it's 29 to 39 degrees Celsius in terms of air and track temperature. This is going to be very, very interesting.
This is going to be very, very interesting. I agree 100% because we are soon approaching 1 p.m. in the sim, and peak temperature usually is right about 1 to 1:30 p.m. And that's where we're probably going to see the biggest drop-off, which is going to be right around the tail end of the stint, going to the second stint, right, Arjuna? So it's going to be big, you know, who manages the tire better during this, especially those red compounds, which are going to be key ones to handle. I do believe who gets an extra lap over here might be in a big advantage when it comes down to the final pit stop to try to get that overcut.
Undercut, overcut, very much going to be important. I wonder for the cars that start on the red mark tire, just how they'll elect to pursue the opening stages of this race, because you go hard early, you'll find yourself in a hole. It's very, very difficult to pull yourself out of that one. I also did mention that you have the push-to-passes, 10 push-to-passes, 60 additional horsepower. Very much crucial to push you up that straight, especially given it's a steep climb up to the start-finish line as well. Take a look as well once we get to the green flag action, but very much mixed bag in terms of tire strategies. Ryan Otis and Matt Taylor, Chris Fowler in the top 10 electing to start on the reds. Everyone else on the black mark primary tires. Prediction time, Lorenzo, as they come through Canada Corner. Who's coming out on top here today?
Bill Kraus.
So you're saying Kraus is going to build a house here at Road America?
Yes, again.
Again? When's the last time he won here?
Well, the last time we covered Road America at the race spot for the Indy Open Series.
That's true. That is true. That's official competition. Again, open setup. This is a fixed setup. Very, very different. Pace car pulls itself away. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart, and this is the HyperX Grand Prix of Road America. Field is in control of Connor Harrington as we climb up the hill. 31 Indy cars ready to rumble as we say, let's go, green flag racing. Harrington gets the throttle down. His teammate looks to the inside of Ryan Otis. Clearly some communication going on between the two of them. Kraus will be alongside into the braking zone. It will be last of the late breakers. They'll plunge themselves side by side. Kraus on the inside now has to defend as Matt Taylor looks to try and get around. Already a big issue though in through turn number 1. Tyler Graf, Alexis Newsom, Andrew Kinsella, and Michael O'Brien. 4 cars into the gravel early doors. They work themselves though down the straightaway and in towards turn number 5. Cars already on the push to pass. Kraus, Taylor, and Fowler. Fowler's already used 2 of his push to passes. His teammate Taylor looks to the inside though of Ryan Otis. Gonna be interesting up the hill as they work their way into the Corvette Bridge. Taylor still has the inside line, a little bit close there. Does it open the door for Adam Blocker? Oh! And that's the 15 of Jay Brandt that's gone around. All sorts of drama here on the opening lap. Does mean 4, 5, 6 cars have worked their way onto pit road already. Big drama to close things off.
Yeah, it looks like also Barrett Rolfe and Adam Fraser are involved in this as well. But other than that, everybody trying to follow one train. Kind of impressed to see some one of the drivers easily push the passes. I would have used the second one, but anyway, it's the driver's choice, not ours.
Yeah, that's the Jow Vaz strategy, as we call it here at RaceSpot.
Or the Gustav Greensburg strategy.
Yes, no, that's true. There's been a couple of drivers known for burning through the push to pass, and not necessarily the recommended strategy, especially given that you've got to ration them out, but it's all on the drivers. How do they want to manage 60 horsepower bursts, 10 of them across 31 laps? 4 miles down, still plenty of action left to go. 120 miles of racing. Harrington will lead across the line. Phil Kraus looks to try and close half a second the gap out front. Bit of separation starting to form between the top 10 and the cars further back. You can now see on the left-hand side of your screen the tires that the drivers are on. Primary for the top 2. The only cars in the top 10 on that red mark alternate are Taylor, Otis, and Fowler. I would suspect they're going to try and come down a little bit early, try and make this first stint the shortest of the race.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised as well, as you really want to have the black, the primary compounds trying to run better through the second portion where the track is. Oh, this.
Well, I am lost for words, not for the first time in the last couple of weeks here on RaceSpot. Matt Taylor, I think, makes the mistake and takes out Phil Kraus. Lorenzo, commentator's curse again. What are you doing?
The house is in shambles. I'm sorry.
Well, the RaceSpotTV replay machine is going to get a thorough work through in a couple of moments' time. We're going to try and stick with live coverage at least for now while we try and at least get a couple of clean laps under our belts. It does mean Adam Blocker has cycled his way up into third position. A podium spot for him. Paul Jenkins has had an issue. He's lost his front wing as well. That's down the hill at the bottom of turn number 8. Now has to wait what will seem like an age for him to get that car spun around. Instant trip down pit road, you'd have to assume. For Jenkins, wow. I'm still trying to catch my breath now, Lorenzo.
I'm still trying to process what is happening these first few laps, Arjuna. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised to see Matt Taylor do a mistake like that, you know, because here's the thing. I think the drivers are trying to save fuel as Fowler goes on the button to try to keep up with Adam Blocker. Again, the thing is, I know they're trying to save fuel, but I think that was a little bit over aggressive for Matt Taylor and misjudged the braking zone out of the primaries. It's natural for the primaries for you to brake a little bit before that, but anyway, unfortunate.
Well, Brian Carey will be slightly thrilled. He's now up plus 14 from where he started. Works his way on the red mark tire past Ricky Harden, one of the many beneficiaries of all the chaos. Robert Malechka the third, plus 11 into the top 10 for him. Joshua Chin gets on the button as he battles with Henry Bennett down the hill into turn 5. Very easily done for the king of chins. Talking about fuel saving, Joshua Chin, no stranger to having to save the fuel.
Yep.
Well, gets a little bit squirrely there. I tell you what, it's starting to calm down, and I'm sure that's going to be its own commentator's curse. Let's watch the start, and let's see what happens here. O'Brien into the grass, and Brophy gets into contact with, I believe that's Tyler Graf, and O'Brien, let's ride on board with him and try and pick it apart from his vantage point. So, just a checkup that he tries to respond to and then gets onto the grass. Not much that Kinsella is just an innocent bystander in all of that. We're really going to be quite disappointed, I'd say. Alexis Newsom does a good job to at least get through all of the drama. Take a look at her vantage point. Has to get on the anchors pretty deep. Locks up as well. But might have been for the better when all things were said and done, because it did mean that she was able to scamper on through. Then it was Barrett Rolfe who, yeah, that not one but two cars getting clipped around there. It's also the 17 of Adam Frazier that gets mixed up in this one. Let's take a look. You'll just see misjudges the line there. Brandt goes into the wall, and Fraser, another innocent bystander there. Shenanigans then on lap number 1. Joshua Chin on pit road as well. Oh my word. So we're going to keep working through these replays because, yeah, lost for words. Kraus does come across the line there, Lorenzo.
It does come across the line, but still.
Like, I understand that he's maybe expecting Taylor to open up the corner a little bit. Okay, no, I take that back. Just a little bit too deep there from Matt Taylor.
Yeah, it's the thing. That's the misjudgment that can happen whenever you are in the button, right, Arjuna? Because whenever you are in the button, it's easy for you to misjudge. Yep.
And that was apparently significant. And I wonder if he's just done his right rear tie there as well. Incredible. And I apologize for the noise that just came out of my mouth. But I'm still in shambles. Watch here, though. I said this was crucial. Less is more during the onboard lap during qualifying. And, well, more is more there for Chin and more into the wall than out on track.
Yeah, but it's that thing. Grass is lava here on iRacing. And unfortunately, Joshua clipped the grass, went for a passenger ride to the tire barrier, and hit the nose and also the front right suspension. And I think what it did is the front right suspension that might have also damaged the steering rack. And, well, he's done for the day. He's in the pit lane, but that's 1 minute and 30 seconds he has now on pit stall.
And already, race control is getting busy. Confirmation, drive-through penalty for the 33 of Barrett Rolfe. I have no doubt that's just going to be the first of many. First of many.
Yeah. If I'm Mark Cohen and George Anzaldo right now, give them a race because they're going to be busy.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Great that we've got the race control graphic as well. So we started with 31. I believe we still have 26 out there and running. 27 because Kinsella has rolled himself back out, albeit 2 laps adrift from the field. Jay Brunt also 2 laps down. Barrett Rolfe is 1, along with Joshua Chin, so 1 lap off the lead. Aaron Morgan, his decision, or whether it was technical related or a choice of his own to start on pit road, I don't think he's going to be too disappointed with that one.
No, P23.
Yeah, I mean, +6 from where he, quote-unquote qualified because he didn't put in a time. Yeah.
Which is surprising, though, given the fact that Aaron is a specialist in road courses.
I don't like to use the word specialist because Morgan is quite well-rounded, but we have seen him, you're right, be very, very quick on the road courses in particular. A bit surprised. In terms of push-to-pass, by the way, we should emphasize that because you really do have to ration them out. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself in a hole with nothing left to defend late in this race. You can see left-hand side of the screen, Blocker yet to get on the button. Fowler already 4 of his 10 usages burned. Brian Beard, who has just gotten off the button, has burnt through half of his 10 push-to-passes. So, well, that's going to put them in a bit of a pickle later on. And speaking of pickle, private label Team Hype, well, Brophy was in the top 10, now drops out as a result of that mistake.
And where is... I'm trying to find Bennett on the track. He's P5, so that's the one thing that Brophy doesn't really want to do. Go in the grass and have a little bit of a spin.
It's okay. He makes the mistake a little bit earlier during the corner. It's not on power down like we saw for his private label counterpart Joshua Chin. Oh, a curse of the commentator, I tell you, as we'll rejoin live pictures. Ryan Otis has been passed by Adam Blocker, but now 2.6 seconds back from Harrington. If Blocker wants to win a fourth race in a row here, he's got plenty of work to do, but now got clean track in front of him. It's what you want to see.
It's what you want to see, and Blocker's really good on the second half of his stint. He's really strong on pushing those tires, finding the proper thread of the tires as we're seeing battles going up to P17 right now. Tyler Graff trying to have a little bit of a comeback race after the incident he had on lap 1 and try to move up on Adam Fraser, but Adam fighting back quite nifty so far.
Yeah, no, I mean... And this is another one of the split tire wars. It's red alternates for Fraser. It's black primaries for Tyler Graff. See how all of this shakes out as they work their way through the carousel. 5 laps in the books, working lap number 6 out of 31. So already halfway through the stint here. And remember, 31 lap race, 11 to 12 lap fuel window. It means that you're looking at one shorter stint if you elect to go all the way to the end on the fuel in either of your in 2 of the stints. Maybe potentially a 7-lap window for that final stint. Maybe that's when you want to use the red tires and really get them off. So might anyway see cars down onto pit road next time around, at least for the guys who started on the reds here, Lorenzo.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the guys come on the reds right now to try to cut the deficit of losing that tire thread to the primaries. And I'm just going to want to take a quick look right now on the weather. It's 43 degrees Celsius, Arjuna. So, like I expected, it was going to be hotter during the race as it progresses. So, the red tires are going to struggle quite a lot over here.
Getting word from race control that they did the worrisome thing. They told everyone to go out there, relax, and have a fun race.
Never do that. Rule number 1 of racing.
Yeah.
Actually, that is rule number 2, because rule number 1 is just say, I'm here for the safety race.
No. That's rule number 3. Rule number 1 is never hit your teammate.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. That is the cardinal rule of racing. If you break that, you are asking for the racing gods to smite you down and to really inflict some pain on you. I think that's to put it mildly. Again, left side of the screen, let's emphasize that the tire compound that these drivers are on as Fraser goes around into the wall on the exit of turn number 8. And more damage to a Dallara IR18. There is going to be a hefty bill for these drivers to have to pay come the end of this one.
Luckily for him is the front wing, even though the front wing is going to give him massive understeer through the carousel. Gonna lose one more spot. There's Aaron Morgan making the overtake as we're going to look on the replay. What happened?
Gets into the gravel. That's what happens.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe the car like bottomed out of sorts out of turn number 7, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, you'll see here, just runs a little bit wide. That's the understeer that I was speaking of, and then instantly, as soon as he grips the outside, around she goes, and that's all she wrote for Fraser. And we were saying that potential strategy would come into play on this very next lap as Malechka and Lionel Kalisto working their way then down out of turn number 3, which again, we're going to have a conversation at some point about corner numbers here in America. That's not turn 3. That is turn 2. But it does open the door for Kalisto to look to the inside. We know how aggressive Kalisto can be. Both of these cars on the black mark primary. Nothing doing there. Great day for Malechka so far. Has worked himself up into the top 7. Might look at his best finish on a road course so far in his young and fledgling Lionheart IndyCar Series campaign. We're talking of pit stops. Brian Carey has elected to make his first stint very, very short, and now will be on the black mark primary tires from here to the end of the race.
Yeah, and I think that's the right choice because now track is building up a little bit of heat. It's going to probably maintain for about an hour or 2, and that's where the race will end. And if you can make it about 12 to 13 laps on this compound, and you are able to push the field to its absolute limit, and you can get a lap extra on everybody, so you can maybe overcut them by a lap or so on the pit stop, that is Giga. As I think Gary moves up 1 spot, but that might be a back marker.
I believe that was Matt Taylor, who is still nursing some significant damage. See what happens there. There's a trolley train that is formed behind Luis Gonzalez Nunez, who's having one of his best road course runs of the campaign. I think we're going to be saying that quite a lot here today in terms of the runs that people are going to have just a result of the chaos that we've had early doors. Luis Gonzalez Nunez has Ricky Harden right behind. Alexis Newsom trying to follow her factory-back teammate up through the field. None of these cars on the push to pass just this time around. Newsom again a little bit deep under the brakes, not looking the most comfortable in through turn 1.
Yeah, and Nunez trying to find a really good result after I think it was his best result in the season so far. I think it's a top 10 at Chicagoland, which nearly top 5. Fought for top 5 at one point, was close to the leaders, but couldn't capitalize in the end. But nevertheless, a really good race from the Chilean.
Yeah, it was, sixth? Yeah, top 6. 6th position, I think. So, yeah, that's what happened there. Also of note, Aaron Morgan has come down onto pit road and called it quits. So, I get the sneaking suspicion there's a technical issue going on there. It's quite similar and analogous to what you get in the real world, right? You'd have an engine drama, misfire, or brakes not working properly. The same thing happens here on the sim. Brakes not working, wheel goes kaput. We've seen it on more than one occasion just in 2021 that if hardware doesn't want to play nice, really can cause more chaos for those around you.
Yeah, I think the king over here of hardware failures, unfortunately, might be Brian Carey.
Oh, don't say that. He's going to come after you.
Yeah, he's going to... I had to say it. I had to throw that in.
Newsom gets past Ricky Harden. Meanwhile, here's the pit stops that I expected a lap or so ago. Rhino is up the hill, followed in by Chris Fowler, so their one and only stint on the red mark tires will be in the books. I don't know if I like this strategy, to be completely honest. Brian Beard is also down this time around. Given that, what we're seeing with the track temperature here, Lorenzo, I mean, why not stay out there on the blacks early, and then when the track starts to cool potentially later on in this race, then you get onto the red mark tire?
Yeah, maybe for like a 5 or 6 laps towards the end where
the
reds would be on paper better. I agree 100%. I would have done the same in that strategy. Go for the blacks, and I did have a race where I started in the blacks, and it got better. I think I got like 5 or 6 positions just overtaking them on the track. After that, it just gets so much smoother, and the reds just kind of like even the ground whenever you want to, whenever they have the grip, of course.
Yeah, no, That's the great thing, though, about racing. There's many different ways to skin a cat, I guess the expression is. I don't exactly know why that's the expression, but it is an expression.
Same.
It's one of those things. It's also, let's get back to the point that I was making earlier. Corner numbers in America make absolutely no sense.
In let me just say this, is not in America, is in North America, because I'm including Canada on this one.
Well, and you're trying to be also make sure that you don't throw South America under the bus there.
Yeah, if there's a track in South America that has that kind of numbering, I will go after it. I think my local track has it.
I tell you what, let's jump on board, and I want to emphasize just how ridiculous corner numbers are here in Road America. Let's jump on board with Robert Malechka III. Bottom right portion of the screen, you can see the track map as well, a bit of separation forming. Adam Blocker 3 seconds behind. So this is turn 1. This makes sense. Absolutely fine.
Okay.
Under this bridge, though, under this banner, that is turn 2.
Nope.
Doesn't make sense. This is turn 3. Doesn't make sense.
Turn 2.
Turn 2, we know that for a fact. And then as you come under the cheese bridge, as I like to call it, this is turn 4.
This is the part I will never forget. I think this is something about racetracks. Just because you're turning, even if it is 1 degree left or right, as Kalisto apparently has an issue on Larkamps moves by, it's not a corner.
It's not a corner. And people will make the argument that they number them because of the marshal posts. Why isn't that an issue anywhere else in the world? Except, okay, let's not get into this, because then we're going to start talking about Road America. Not Road America, we're at Road America. The Red Bull Ring, yes. And how turn 3 is turn 2.
Yeah, I was gonna go into that direction, but you stopped me, and I agree of stopping me right there.
The only one that makes sense is, well, I say makes sense. It's hard to make any sense when you're at the Nordschleife, given how fast you're going around that track and how close to disaster you are every single time you go through a corner. That is one track where corner number's not necessarily the worst in the world. Into pit road, though, comes your race leader. Lap 11, Adam Blocker, as I suspected, stays out there for one more lap.
Yeah, and like I said, this is big. You know, staying for one more lap during the stint allows you to be better, right, and more efficient with the red compounds whenever you want to come to the final pit stop. And like we mentioned, the blacks become the better compound during the run. So it gets more grip, it becomes more stable. So it makes sense for you to go on a second stint now in the, okay, now Connor Harrington wants to prove me wrong.
Oh, so either he's doing the short stint now, or I don't know what's going on.
Makes no sense for me.
Yeah, or I have no idea what's going on. What I do know is, unfortunately for Jay Brandt, not the first time he's been off the track. This time, it's down at turn number 8. I tell you what, we don't want to talk about Jay necessarily in the bad sense. So let's take a look, as pit road is very busy, at our sim experience driver profile, which unfortunately is Jay Brandt in the number 15 car. 54 starts, 14 of them top 10s, 6 top 5s. Debuted in the season opener back in season 7 a couple of years ago. A best finish came on the short track at the Phoenix Raceway, the track that's just got a new version here on the iRacing service. But unfortunate for him, Lorenzo, he really hasn't been able to show what pace he might have had here today, given all that drama on lap number 1.
Yeah, and he was one of the votes at those drama at lap number 1. So it's unfortunate to see not being able to display that a pace that he probably has on around the track, but still basically 2/3 of the race left to develop around the track, so he can move up a few spots. Of course, he's a driver that is learning more and more the intricacies of the road course, and I can't wait to see what he does next.
And I tell you what, I think he might at least through attrition gain one more spot. Let's see what happened to the NHR Esport machine of Chris Fowler. How did he get left front damage driving down the straight?
Did he make car contact?
We'll find out here. So coming through Bill Mitchell Bend, I'm trying to watch the left front. He's got the 00 of Mike Rigney in front of him. Oh! And so that's miscommunication in terms of coming down onto pit road.
Oh, that is the worst possible thing that can happen to you. Aside from this connection, of course.
Yeah, and well, that's not unheard of here at Road America either. It's not the most uncommon of things. I've got to say, I guess he just didn't know soon enough how bad the damage was, because he would have definitely then just come straight down onto pit road. It wasn't in the worst position to have done so. There was also an issue for Robert Malechka III. This is coming through Canada corner. Just runs a bit wide, easy to do. Getting a bit deep.
Plus, yeah, and plus he's on the first lap.
Lorenzo! We've got more.
What did I do?
No, I don't think you necessarily did anything this time, we should say, because usually it's your fault, but more replays.
Sure.
More replays. Adam Fraser first.
Fraser?
And that's agonizing. The slow roll into the tire wall.
Run. Yeah, this is one of those things that the change of the compounds, or whoever is now used with the black compounds do, is that they don't give you a lot of braking grip.
Okay, you were wait, 3 cars? Is there an oil spill on the track or something? So watch this. Braun goes in as well. And Matt Taylor follows them. Now Matt Taylor at a bit more speed, we should say. New damage model getting a workout there. Let's watch what happens here. Oh, he just misses the braking zone completely. Just follows those car in, and well, all 3 cars had to reset themselves back to pit road.
Well, naturally, look at the damage they have on their car, especially at Matt Taylor's side pod is basically as a goner. And like I said, the tires, whenever they are coated, especially the black compound, the primary compound, you have to take it an extra set of caution because you have no grip when braking. The car doesn't like braking. It's weird. You have to kind of lift a little bit and then coast it, and then apply the braking into the corner, and then let the tire keep build up. On the reds, you just cannot over-brake that. If you over-brake, it's easy for you to lock the cars. And it gives you massive understeer. I hate that.
And look at that, left side of the screen. Only 1 car is on the red mark tire right now. So we are expecting potentially a shorter stint from Harrington. Should be noted, he has extended the gap as a result of the initial pace that the red mark tire does have, but by lap 3 or so, we're going to see Blocker start to reel him on in.
1 lap. All right, and I'm just thinking Harrington needs to pit in about 6 laps or so for him to make it to the end, more or less, right? So
6 laps, I think, would mean he has to do a bit of fuel saving. 7 is no fuel saving, foot to the floor.
Yeah, but the thing is, you open up a huge door to Adam Blocker to close in. Because the drop-off on the reds would be about a 1.5 seconds average.
Yes. So we'll have to monitor the lap times now. I think that's what we have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be doing that.
So time will give us all the answers. I'll also say, I hate you, Adam Crane. You've just reminded me about Road Atlanta. And how you exit turn 7, and by the next time you get on the brakes, or even turn the steering wheel more than 5 degrees, you've gone through turns 8 and 9, and you arrive at a chicane, which has its corners 10A and 10B. I hate you.
Jesus. Well, at least it's not most sport.
Oh God. Let's not let's stop, because I'm spiraling into insanity right now. Unfortunately. Yeah. Started with 31 cars. Let's focus on what's happening now. Andrew Kinsella is in pit road. 22 cars are still out there on track, not including Kinsella, who I'm not sure if he's retiring. I'm not sure if this is the end of his natural fuel run.
By the way, Blocker did his best lap of all stints.
He did. Is that the fastest lap of the race? No, Harrington still has that, but that's a 45.255. Blocker on the black mark tire is doing a 45.473.
Yeah, so 0.2 of a second faster in the last lap, but I do believe he's going to start being by 0.4, maybe half a second, depending on circumstances.
Let's see the lap time this time around. That's what's going to be interesting. Through the final corner works Connor Harrington. Barney the flagman will have a pretty good view of this one. And as Harrington under the bridge comes across the line. It's a 46.355. Adam Blocker, a 45.983. So it was about 4/10 that last time around.
And he's going to be a word of pain now for Connor, because like the likelihood of him doing 45s might exist only if he goes on the latter portion of his run. If his car gets slight, as Barrett Rolfe has some kind of an issue.
And has had to reset to pit road. So down the hill, a little bit deep. Oh. Well, I have a feeling that the mistake might have been self-inflicted, but the track took no prisoners there, and definitely some floor damage would have been dealt out to the 33, and might have just called it day done there. You could just hear it. You can hear it when it hits the floor. That's not the noise you want to hear from an IndyCar here.
That's not a noise you want to hear from a car at all.
Can you imagine? I'm just reading our YouTube chat right now, Lorenzo. They're talking about rain. We're not far away from rain being an actual possibility in these races.
Oh my goodness. We had rain on Road America this year, haven't we?
In real life?
In real life.
You're testing my memory, and I've done way too many broadcasts to remember that.
It's fair point. Like, if anybody knows, please answer us, because I did not know by memory. But I do remember Road America had drama, especially late race drama with Felix Rosenqvist, if I recall correctly. And I do not remember if that was related to the tires or a human mistake from Felix, or might be related with the tarmac being slightly wet because of rain.
I just can't wait till, you know, we talk about this during our iRacing special events. The fact that the big teams already have, you know, engineers and strategists working for them. The next role that they're going to fill is a weather forecaster. And maybe not even just a forecaster, but someone who's going to do a rain dance for them.
You know what we should have? This is a suggestion for RaceSpot next year, whenever we cover up like 24 for a 24 Nürburgring. Just have five cameras in different portions of the track, just looking at the sky.
You're talking about the RaceSpot cone camera that we used to have.
Yeah.
I'm down for it. Let's see how things go with the special events next year. A move on track, finally. Brian Carey uses the push to pass to get to the inside of Lionel Calisto. Blue and white versus blue and white, but the 79 gets it done. Over under for Calisto. He'll try and challenge back as they climb up the hill. Not going to be able to poke his nose to the inside. Brian Carey up 20 positions. Up 20 positions.
Why I did not sound surprised at all?
He was not feeling too optimistic coming into this race. I'm teammates with Carey, so I can tell you, Lorenzo, he was asking for what our TeamSpeak address is so he could come and chat to us once his race ended in tears.
All right. Well, at least it's not ended. If it ends in tears, will be tears of joy.
Don't say that, Lorenzo. Not with your track record of commentators' curses.
I forget. Oh man, I forget. Road America is my worst track of the season so far.
Road America is your worst track, period, in all of history.
Oh man, I did forget that.
So yeah, for those who are wondering what we're talking about, ISOWC earlier this year, anytime Lorenzo would talk nice about a driver, they'd end up in the wall. And you know what? I've just realized.
I won't cry.
You know what I've just realized here, Lorenzo? For Phil Krause, second time.
Second time.
Yeah, second time. Second time he's crashed out here at Road America.
And I picked him again.
I don't know how you could do that. Phil is going to be writing to you. It's all your fault.
Okay, I'll try to counter argue with something that like you should have braked better.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see how this argument goes. Now, a gap for the lead is back down to 3 seconds. Let's quickly take a look at the lap times from each of these drivers. You can see 11 and 12. That's when the pit stops happen for Connor Harrington, so you don't get a representative lap time there. It was 146s, low 146s at the end of his stint on blacks. He's already in the high 146s, might even be a 47 this time around. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, for Adam Blocker just behind, you can see, much more consistent. He's now reached that cliff of where the tires aren't wearing that much.
0.8 of a second.
0.8 of a second. Let's wait and see this time around, though. Let's wait and see this time around. Harrington with a 47.152. Blocker with a 46.295. You are right.
Yeah, apparently something happened. Like, Connor is losing so much time, especially at the finals. Like, the transition from the second sector to the final sector. He was up in the delta right about 0.2, 0.3 heading to the second sector. After that, it went completely to a full second slower on the previous lap. As now Blocker's 0.1 plus on the delta going to sector 2.
And I like what Blocker is doing here. He's being patient. He could be getting on the push to pass and closing that gap up. But there's two problems with that. One, it burns fuel because it dumps, in effect gives you a little bit more horsepower by burning a bit more fuel. But two, it will also mean that at the end of this race, it's not just push to pass. I say this way too often. It is push to defend as well. Yeah. Using that button in the right way is crucial. That gap almost under 2 seconds now.
Yeah, nearly under 2 seconds. They're going to go through the kink. Half a second slower on the previous lap on Connor, about 1/10 of a second slower for Blocker on this lap. So it's going to be interesting. I think Blocker reaches might be on the last lap of Harrington.
And so Harrington could theoretically pit this time around, but I think that's going to be just a bit too much of a fuel save for him to want to do that, and indeed he stays out. Question is, will he come down next time around as you'd suspect, or does he make the strategy blunder of staying out there and burning off his tank of fuel before he comes to pit road?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to watch as Harrington does a 47.2, Blocker with a 46.2.
So this time it is a full second. It is a full second. Yeah. That gap is going to be 0.4 of a second coming to the line next time around. If Harrington doesn't pit, I am going to be gobsmacked. Brian Carey into pit road. That's what we'd suspect, given that he came down very, very early to get rid of his own red mark alternate tires. The 20 car still on the lead lap, separated by about 75 seconds. Lap traffic not going to be a huge factor you'd suspect, but maybe by the end of it, end of the race I should say, might be a slightly different situation. Luis Gonzalez Nunez and Joe Branch squabbling over 11th and 12th position, with Alexis Newsom in a great spot to watch all the action. Coming down into turn 3 for Branch, he needs to get a good run off the corner because Nunez is looking good on those tires. Branch doesn't get the best of runs. Here comes Luis Gonzalez Nunez.
Yeah, as he tries to look on the inside, there's no room to approach from Nunez. He's going to be backed out a little bit, not going to dive at all. Just going to be behind Joe Branch over here. Smart move, you know, you really don't want to over-thread those tires that you have right now. It's Connor now last in a second. I told you.
Let's see if he does what we'd expect or if he's going to do something different. You have to pit. You have to pit if you ask me this time around. And he is indeed coming down onto the lane. Crucial to not make a mistake on pit entry here because you brake very deep. You do have gravity to assist you as you go up the hill. But it's Harrington onto pit road. It's Blocker back to the point.
It's Blocker back to the point. And you know it's going to be key now. It kind of reverse the roles. Now Blocker has a lighter car. He has about 5 or 4 laps extra on fuel to try to make it before the pit stop. As now Harrington absolutely would go on the primaries. It would run towards the end of the race. Is now the gap of where does Blocker is in terms of gap compared to Harrington when he pits.
It's a sorry sight. I think that's the only thing I can say. The stricken 22 for Phil Kraus. Ryan Otis also onto the lane this time around. Of course, he started on the red mark alternate tire. Some lap traffic for Connor Harrington. He's fed himself out behind Lionel Callisto. Cannot afford to get caught up behind the 97 machine. Brian Beard, Matt Houston also down onto the lane. Let's watch and see now where this cycles out. Adam Blocker, 8 laps into his run. Should have 4 laps before he makes his final trip down onto pit road. Mike Rasmussen having a good run up front. Finds himself behind Henry Bennett, so that gives you an indication. Bennett, we know how quick he is in an IndyCar, and Rasmussen is keeping him honest.
Being very honest, you know, both guys are relatively within the same pace, 47 lows all around for both Bennett and Rasmus. And the only thing that has advantage for Bennett, he has a lap extra on overcut against Rasmus. So it's going to be how the British American green of Henry Bennett will try to fend off the number 68 of Rasmus, which I think is probably matching his best result so far, of course, if it ends now in the season in the road.
Harrington on the button as he closes on Callisto. That's crucial to try and just get the tires up to temperature and pressure and build his momentum up as well. Can't afford to make a mistake on cold tires. It's oh so easy to do. We'll get the draft from Callisto up the hill. Using the full track on offer. Steep. It is steep. You don't get that sensation unless you are actually here at Road America. We're here virtually, of course, but it's a different thing when you see that in real life. There he goes. Gets on pass very smoothly. Now gets to the task at hand, going quick with clean air in front. 5 seconds clear of the car in front. Stefan Larkamp running in the 5th position. So now, 22 laps to go. More cars onto pit road. Joe Branch in this time around. Mike Rigney came in last time as well, so really pit road increasingly busy. Full tank of fuel, 4 fresh Firestones going on to these machines. We were talking about Razmas. Let's sing the praises of Malechka III as well, because he's up into the top 5. Might cycle down to about... he's going to cycle down to 5th exactly, because only Connor Harrington will cycle up in front of them. But what a drive, plus 17. We were talking about Brian Carey doing a spectacular job to work his way through the field. Malechka III has done the same.
Yeah, I've been watching and following and racing Malechka in the official series more and more, and he's been picking up the pace really fast on the road courses. So he's a guy that we should put our eyes on and look more closely. Maybe next season in the iRacing. That's probably going to be a good one to watch.
Well, I tell you what, plenty of drama to go till the end. We're going to step away here on RaceSpotTV. Don't go anywhere, though. Pit stops coming up. Closing stages coming up. We're racing in Road America for the HyperX Grand Prix of Road America. Welcome back to RaceSpotTV and coverage of round 20 in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. It's the HyperX Grand Prix of Road America. My name is Arjuna Kankipati, alongside is Lorenzo Bonder as we get into the closing stages of the race and the closing stages of the 2021 campaign. It's been an interesting race where strategy has played crucial, as well as surviving the chaos that was the opening laps of this race. Well, Lorenzo, I've got to take the blame for something here because, well, we were talking about your commentator's curse. Mike Razmas, who we were singing the praises of just a few moments ago, has had technical issues. He has dropped out of the race.
Yeah, but he's coming back. Unfortunately, he's going to be cycled out about a lap or two behind everybody else in the field. It's unfortunate. And lucky me, of sorts, because I was about to mention him as I see Adam Blocker coming into the pit lane. This is going to be big.
I'm a bit surprised he didn't stretch that out one more lap because he's on lap 11 on the stint. Could potentially have gone one lap further as Joshua Chin makes a mockery of turn number 8. That might be, yep, indeed that is, day done for Joshua Chin. This is crucial though. For Harrington, it was a 46.317 last time around. For Adam Blocker, a 46.122. It's penultimate lap before coming onto the lane. How close is that gap going to be? Is Harrington going to have to get the pass done on track? Into the box, up on the Japs. For the three-time reigning defending champion, Harrington already up to speed. I can hear Blocker revving away. Blocker is just in front, but those tires won't be up to temperature and pressure. Opportunity for Harrington to throw it to the inside of turn number 5 and then watch potentially as Blocker's tires wear on out and Blocker's pace drops off. Here's the run though. On the button is Connor Harrington. Not on the button is Adam Blocker. That is very, very interesting. How aggressive does he go on the defense? He's to the left side. He's going to make Harrington go the long way around. Blocker and Harrington side by side. Blocker holds on for now, but for how much longer, we'll find out.
It's going to be an interesting one because Blocker has a little bit of an understeer, which is natural because of the new red compounds. So he might have to throw the brake bias a little bit to the rear to compensate for the understeeriness of the car, then try to switch it back once the lap 1 is done. Well, Blocker's job is simple. He has 9 push-to-passes, and this we haven't mentioned this. Harrington has 5 push-to-passes here, Arjuna. So Blocker with 7 to go, and it's going to be 6 to go. He's going to have buckets, and I mean buckets of things to defend.
And he's got the advantage of fuel now, so he'll be able to really get on that as his primary form of defense. What he needs to focus on is the exit out of turn 14, the exit out of turn 3. If he can get the run nicely, get the power down, get on the button, he should be potentially able to fend off the challenge. The question then becomes, how aggressive can Harrington be in the infield? Blocker does have to make hay while the sun shines, though. While these tires are fresh, he might want to lean on them a little bit more. How does he resist that temptation, potentially hold something back for the closing stages?
I think more importantly as well, with this first lap being the fast lap, and actually the first 2 laps being the fast laps, do you go on the button to try to clear yourself away from Harrington right now?
Well, he's already 1.6 clear. Kalisto on that red tire. We're going to see something similar between Harrington and Blocker as we're seeing between Kalisto and Carey here for 7th and 8th positions. Kalisto has 2 usages left on the button, left to go as he climbs himself up the hill. That's not the position you necessarily want to be in. 4 seconds behind. Stefan Larkamp in front for those 2 competitors. I'm sure they'll have a fun fight to the end. You can see that gap, though. You were wondering, how does Blocker play this one? Didn't get on the button, but he's 2.5 seconds clear now almost as they come through the hurry downs into turn 8. I think his strategy is to just try and build a gap up here. And then if Harrington closes, when his tires go, come into favor a little bit more, that's when Blocker will start getting on the button. That's when Blocker is going to be ultra defensive.
Yeah, and he has 4 more push-to-passes, which I know Blocker's probably aware of this right now. So he's going to try to maximize everything, especially on the straights heading into the turns. So I wouldn't be surprised if that scenario happens.
I don't think he'll know. I don't think Blocker will know he's got the push-to-pass advantage here.
If he uses caps, he knows.
Well, he's in VR, so he doesn't.
Yes, so he would need a spotter.
And I can tell you that all the adrenaline drivers are driving right now because, well, that's what they do.
What about Wilson, though?
No.
I forgot Wilson.
Well, the thing is, Adam Blocker does like to drive on road courses with no voice communication. That, though, is crucial. The only driver to dip below the 145s, it's a 44.884. Adam Blocker, fastest car on the track. Gap is now 3 full seconds with 20 miles left to go.
Yeah, which is big. You know, if that gap comes down to nearby the second, it's going to be basically maybe with 2 to go, Arjuna, and that's a wild guess for me, of course. That would be with 2 to go, and I think there's no ground where Connor would gain 3 seconds in 2 laps.
And it's not just the gain, right? Murray Walker has said this all the time, the late, great Murray Walker. Catching is one thing, passing is another. That is going to be the name of the game. So let's turn our attention away. Henry Bennett on the button, closing on the back of Robert Malechka III, who finds himself in a top 4 position. He'll let Bennett go down his inside. I don't think Malechka's going to want to fight too much here. A top 5 plus 16. Well, what a day that would be for Malechka.
What a day would be for Malechka, and I think more importantly is that Bennett is within the same strategy. But the gap between the both drivers are basically close by, so there is a good chance if Bennett wants and he plays this card right, and if he really wants to be P4, he can go back at Bennett with maybe like 2 to go, 1 to go, where on paper his tires would be better than Bennett's.
His best finish on a road course so far is 9th. And that was in his debut at Silverstone for Malechka, so I don't think he's going to force the issue too much. Meanwhile, this gap for the race lead is 4 full seconds. Incredible. Take a look at these track conditions. It hasn't really cooled off as much as one might have suspected. But this is where the driver is coming into play as well. With 4 laps to go, Harrington is going to need a miracle. We should also remember his tires are 4 laps older than Blocker. Yes, the tires will be the preferred option at this point in time, but his tires will also be that little bit more worn compared to the race leaders.
Yeah, he would have the major struggle in comparison of grip to Blocker. So it's going to be tricky. How does Connor negotiate this one? And also, it kind of closes one door on Harrington for the championship, doesn't it?
I tell you what, it doesn't completely close it, given they'd be first and second. And we can take a look at the live point situation, top right of your screen. Oh, it's about, quick math here, mental math, 118 points?
Yeah.
Blocker effectively needs 2 points heading to Road America. Brian Carey on the button and to the inside of Lionel Kalisto down the hill into turn 5. Kalisto almost runs into his right rear corner, but Brian Carey, the Canadian, takes that spot back. Kalisto has burned through all of his push-to passes.
Great save.
And as that great save is going on, it is almost mathematically confirmed.
Yeah.
Blocker has basically 2 parade laps, 2 parade races, I should say, to take this title home.
Kinsella with the weasel strategy is the best lap away.
Weasel strategy, I like that one. Both Harrington and Blocker using their push to passes now with 6 miles left to go. 3 laps left here in Road America. That gap, 4.5 seconds. Interesting to see that despite the fact that, of course, Blocker is now on to lap 4 on his stint, pace hasn't really dropped off. He's still doing 45.8. Harrington did a 46.4 last time around.
It's very hard for you to break the 46s, out of the 46s once you're within 9 laps in the stint. You can do 46.1, 46.0, maybe 45 if you got to push the pass and you're pushing the car to its absolute limit. Otherwise, it's all blockers.
And I left the points up there in the top right, so you can also see that battle for third in the championship. Because of Chin's misfortune here, he's now actually dropped to 6th in the points. Otis has jumped him. Kinsella is 20 points clear of Ryan Otis in that 95 car. Of course, Otis having a great drive here in that 95 machine. Henry Bennett has built up a bit more of a buffer, but will not be comfortable. Third in the championship, plenty to play for. This time around, it will be 2 to go. My eyes aren't deceiving me. That is Tony Schowen, who has been a bit of, how do I say this nicely, an instigator. Not because Tony has necessarily done anything bad, but because lap traffic has always been a factor when it's Tony Schowen on the road courses. He's made some contact with the private label Team Hype guys. It's not like he's made life particularly easy for his adrenaline teammates either. I'm not trying to throw Tony under the bus here because I've no doubt I'm going to hear some messages. But take a look at this. He had the opportunity to lift off into turn 1 and let Blocker through. Didn't do so, and now cost him a bit of time, and in fact cost him a bit more time there.
Yeah, it is a marginal. Actually, to be very honest, it's a marginal time loss, because if Adam Blocker lost anything, that is Gonzalez Nunez up the track. Unfortunately, I think that's on the carousel.
It is, and it's not the first off track that he's had in the last 5 minutes or so. This was the first in towards Canada corner. We saw Malechka the third do that. Good car control. Joe Pranch squeaks on through down the inside. That was for 12th position. This is the most recent one. Oh, just a little bit wide on the entry and sucks him off into the gravel. Such an easy mistake to do at a race like this, which is fairly long in its nature and can cause some mental fatigue, and you zone out there.
Yeah, and another thing is, depending on how you are pushing with the red compounds, and setup aided as well, it is a little bit reary. The car, of course, the tire improvements made it so much better, so you can catch those backslides you get on the car. If you had that on the Road America with the previous iteration, 99.9% you would actually go into the wall, maybe go into the moon or something like that. But in this one, you can kind of catch it, and I think Blocker did had a little bit of an issue kind of the corner, ran too wide apparently.
I think he's okay. That gap is still 4+ seconds. So with 4 miles to go, Blocker has 4 push-to-passes left. Unless the iRacing gods decide to smite him down, it will be 4 in a row for Adam Blocker. This time, Barney, the flagman, has the flag in his hand. You can see vigorously waving it as well. It's going to be interesting to talk to him in victory lane here, Lorenzo, because it could have gone either way on the strategy. Going to the Reds in the middle of the race, I don't necessarily disagree with that call, but it was the way that Blocker drove, the way that he responded to the call, that put him in this position. And even though qualifying didn't go his way, once more, Blocker is going to come out on top.
Yeah, Blocker's going to come out on top, the king of Road America, and then he heads to bail out with the golden chance of winning the championship. Well, it's the thing, you know, he's very strong with the primaries in his second portion of the stint. Harrington did his best. Let's not take away the strategy. I think it was a bold strategy as Brophy gets overtaken by Brian Beard going to turn number 1. But the master drive, especially with the primaries of Blocker, it has to be mentioned and praised a lot.
It's hard to give enough praise to the season that has been 2021 and for Adam Blocker. An average finish of a podium. A top 5 streak that dates back to September of last year. 2 races to go. Last time Lionheart went to Belle Isle, Blocker won both of the races at the Jewel in Detroit. He has firmly got one hand on the championship. And as Blocker rounds the final corner, he'll make it 4 wins in a row at Road America, looking for his 4th consecutive title in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. Adam Blocker wins once more, a dominant race once he got to the front. He put himself in the right position thanks to strategy, and from there didn't look back, dominated the last 7 laps. In any other season, Connor Harrington would be a worthy champion. But when you have the Lionheart King at the front, there's not much you can do to stop the dominant charge of Adam Blocker.
No, not at all. What a dominant effort from Adam Blocker. Harrington tried his best. Everybody tried their best, but just couldn't come out on top. Ryan Otis will finish 3rd place. I think that might be his best position in the road in this season so far. So a great drive from the 95 driver. Harry Bennett comes 4th. And Malechka with his best result in the road, coming out with the top 5 result.
Incredible race. Road America, it was a bit chaotic at the start. I think that's the best way to put it, Lorenzo. Chaotic, but
Yeah.
once it got going, it really started to get intriguing. That's what we love about road course racing. The multiple tire strategies, the multiple fuel strategies, and push to pass. That always means passes are possible at a track like Road America.
Yeah, I think also given the fact that we got 31 laps over here, kind of shuffles the strategies a little bit, and what do you want to play with in the tires in comparison to what would you normally do at a Mosport or Belle Isle. So it's going to be a very interesting duel in the streets of Detroit. I am 100% sure about that.
Adam Blocker, like I said, victorious in both races in Season 7. He's led every single lap in Detroit. Championship very much could be crowned when we head to Detroit. Blocker as well, now a Detroit native, has moved there as part of his responsibilities with Ilmore as a trackside engineer in the NTT IndyCar Series. It's going to be questionable if Blocker can make it 5 in a row with those real-world responsibilities next year. But that's for next year. For now, Blocker burns the house down. A very well-earned victory here in Road America in Elkhart Lake.
Also, there's one thing to mention. I think with this win, it kind of seals the deal. He becomes the road champion. Because we do have road standings and oval standings.
It should indeed. We'll take a look at that potentially in the post-race. It is Adam Blocker's 31st career victory in the Lionheart IndyCar Series. 97 starts, 31 wins. Incredible. 4 seconds clear of Connor Harrington as we take a look at the Carnox race results. Ryan Otis will round out the podium. Great drive from the 95 car. Yes, he started on the front row, but Ryan Otis really coming into his own in the Stellara IR18. Henry Bennett in 4th will extend his gap for 3rd in the championship, while Robert Malechka III would have been one of the biggest movers on the day with plus 16 to complete the top 5. Stefan Laukamp up to 6th, but Brian Carey, end-of-line penalty, works his way to 7th position. An incredible drive, more than 20 positions gained for the Canadian. Lionel Kalisto in 8th with Brian Beard in 9th. Jason Brophy does complete the top 10. We were maybe dismissing Brophy's chances of a good result. I have no doubt I'll hear about that when I talk to Brophy later on. Alexis Newsom, good solid drive to get herself into 11th spot with Tyler Groff in 12th. Joe Branch 13th. Luis Gonzalez Nunez plus 16 up into 14th position. Good way to head into the final couple of races of 2021. Matt Houston to complete the top 15. Ricky Hart and Scott Holmes, the final car on the lead lap, with Tony Schowen, Mike Rigney, Mike Rasmas all 1 lap down to round out the top 20. Andrew Kinsella, well, no fault of his own, found himself around in turn number 1 on lap number 1, but he fights back to 21st. Joshua Chin, one of his main championship rivals, finishes down in 22nd. Significant rear suspension damage for the king of chins in the closing stages. Barrett Rolfe had a drive-through penalty and then a mistake in turn 5. He finishes down in 23rd with Chris Fowler, Adam Frazier, Matt Taylor, Jay Brandt, Aaron Morgan, Phil Krause, and Paul Jenkins continuing the long list of retirees. Michael O'Brien, the final of those retirements in today's action. What a race it was. We've got some podium interviews to get to, but of course first it's time to dive our way into the HyperX post-race show, because the Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperxgaming.com, and don't forget to use the promo code Lionheart15, that's LIONHRT15 for 15% off all orders. And waiting for us in HyperX victory lane, it is Adam Blocker. Congratulations, Adam. Effectively one hand on the championship, even coming into this race. But now, basically, you need 2 points at Detroit to clinch this championship. Talk to us about the strategy. You went on to the black tires in your second stint. Connor Harrington went on to the reds. It's always interesting to see those contrasting strategies, but it worked out in your favor. 4 seconds clear at the end of the race.
And that was a hard race. That was a hell of a drive from, all of us up there in the top. But Yeah, disappointing qualifying. I was 5th, and really could have been 2nd, just like a 10th separate all of us. So I was kind of disappointed with that. I knew some of the guys on reds at the start would be tough to deal with. Fortunately, for me at least, a couple of guys got together up there, and Kraus, got hurt in that, which was unfortunate for him, but it definitely helped me out. And then, from there it was just I got past Otis pretty quickly. We kind of worked together to facilitate that pass, so neither one of us lost time. And from there I was honestly just saving fuel for the first half of the race, saving a little bit just so I could minimize the laps on reds, and it really paid off at the end.
How was the setup? There was a lot of, I think, consternation is probably the best way to describe it. Drivers fretting about how it was going to race, but that's what makes this car interesting with a fixed setup. You've got to adapt to the car rather than expecting it to drive the way you want. How did you adapt to this car?
Honestly, it wasn't my favorite setup, but it still drove pretty well. The main thing was it was really easy to overdrive it just slightly on entry, and then the front would just wash. So I think that's what most people were struggling with. Fortunately, I kind of figured it out at least for the race, even though I was making more small mistakes than I would like. But
well, 9 victories in 20 races. It's an unbelievable campaign you've had, and I've said this during the show today, Adam, is that in any other season, Harrington would have been a worthy champion, but you've just been a step above across the season, even with your real-world commitments. I know it's early, you haven't looked at the schedule for next year, but I'm already starting to look forward to 2022. How are you feeling heading into the final couple of races, though, here? Won both the races at Detroit, which will be up in a couple of weeks. You led every single lap as well. Are you confident of making it a 10th victory so far in 2021?
Definitely would like to between Detroit and Auto Club, but honestly the main focus is just wrap up the championship at Detroit, and a win at Auto Club would be sweet to sweep the Triple Crown races, but overall just trying to put in 2 strong performances and finish off the season.
Congratulations, Adam. You're being called an alien in chat. I'm sure you like that in some regards. What a drive. Great strategy as well. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time from the streets of Detroit.
Yeah, thanks, guys. See you there.
What a drive from the reigning, defending Lionheart IndyCar Series champion. Second step of the podium was Connor Harrington, and Lorenzo Bonder is standing by.
Connor, what a massive drive you had this race. You tried everything that you could, but second place. It does feel a little bit bitter, but how are you thinking about this result at the end of the race?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just missed on the strategy there. I think we were looking pretty good until Phil got clattered into the back of. It would have been nice to have another team car up there to help work the strategy a little bit, and it just sucks for him just to get. He just got absolutely destroyed. But our pace was okay. Too many mistakes in the last stint. And I probably need to get by Adam there on the when he came out of the pits, and I wasn't able to. So I felt like I got squeezed a little bit, but that's fine. It's racing. But it was a good race and good points. Second place is all but sewn up, so not really much left to race for the rest of the year. But nice to bring home a nice second place finish.
Sure, and going to the strategies, was picking your alternates going to into the first pit stop the call that you had prior to the race, or was that a mid-race call that you thought it would be most advantageous?
No, we think that was the right call. As far as trying to be able to use the red tires while you had clean air, I think if you tried to use them while you were behind somebody, I think you were going to be in big trouble. So we wanted to get out of the way. It just happened that Adam had saved enough fuel behind Otis so that he could run longer and have to not use them as long, so they don't fall off. So that was kind of our downfall. We just couldn't make the fuel number tonight.
Sure, and lastly, before I let you go, Connor, 2 races left in the season, Belle Isle and Auto Club. If you have to pick one of those 2 races, which one would you want to win most?
We'll go with Belle Isle. Auto Club would be nice just for the double points. I think we were with a real outside chance for the Triple Crown. It is 2 races left. We're in a good place for points, And yeah, it'll just 2 more races and that'll be it.
Well, fair point. Connor, again, congratulations on P2. I know it sounds a little bit better for you right now, but get some rest, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep, cheers, guys. Thanks.
So that was Connor Harrington. Final step of the podium, it was the Lionheart Retro Series champion in 2020. It was Ryan Otis with one of his better drives on the road courses here in 2021. Ryan, talk to us about that race. And there was lots of chaos, and you took a bit of advantage with that after Phil Kraus, for example, got kind of taken out there. You got swarmed on the start. Just how difficult was that to try and time the run? Harrington, of course, would have been in communication with Phil Kraus. Very difficult for you to get the launch that you would have wanted.
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew those guys were going to be working together, so as soon as we went, I hit the button, and then I saw Kraus hit the button, and he had the toe, so I was like, well, I see how this is going to go. So I was just trying not to lose too many positions, because I knew I was going to get kind of squeezed out a little bit on the outside. So really, I was just kind of glad that we all made it through there alive. I know those, Kraus and those guys kind of got tangled up a little bit later, but at least that first few corners there worked out pretty clean. So that was all right.
You've been pretty strong here in the road courses. Talk to us about how you've migrated. Lotus 79, very, very different to this Dallara IRA team. I think back to your second place at Mid-Ohio, the fantastic drive that you had at Phillip Island as well, when you took the pole position, and for a time, it did look as though you were going to come out on top. What do you have to do, other than maybe not have Adam Blocker in the field, to take that elusive victory, though?
Oh, man. Adam Blocker is just on another planet. His driving and strategy and racecraft has been really pretty otherworldly. So that's a tall order there. I feel like I've had a few good drives. Even here, I felt like I had okay pace, overall. But when we kind of settled into the race, it was pretty apparent that I was, a couple tenths off Connor and Adam, and a couple tenths faster than the guys behind me. So I just kind of drove the race out where I was. So I've had a few good drives. I've had some just terrible luck on the ovals, which is, I haven't qualified well, and frankly I just haven't raced that well, and have just got caught up in kind of bad situations. So that's definitely something I need to focus on. This is a completely different car than the Lotus, obviously. It's really, I've really struggled to, I guess, kind of manage the tires. So with the Lotus, you can just drive hair on fire every lap, and the older the tires get, kind of the happier they get, and it just works out. But in this car, you really kind of have to temper it, and you got to be a lot smoother. And I find that I can kind of click off a couple of fast laps, but I end up just overworking the tires and overdriving entries, and then it ends up biting me. So I definitely have a lot to learn. This car has not come naturally to me, so I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge of just trying to get better at it, really.
Well, I can tell you currently sit second in the Road Championship with one race left to go. What are you thinking about the streets of Belle Isle? We've, of course, had a street race already in 2021, but I personally find Long Beach and Detroit very, very different in their nature. How confident are you heading to the very bumpy Belle Isle?
Oh, on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give myself like a 0, because I actually haven't even bought the track yet. I really need to do some homework and figure out what to do there. So that's my confidence is low, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think it'll be fun.
Well, congratulations, Ryan. Great drive here today, and I'm sure that victory is not too far away. We'll see you in a couple of weeks then at the track that you will surely be buying very, very soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
So that was Ryan Otis, final step of the podium. And Lorenzo, I'm still a little bit in shock right now as to that entire race and to the way it played out as well, because dramatic, chaotic, so many superlatives that you could throw at it. But ultimately, Adam Blocker, inevitable. I think we're going to use a Thanos turn here. He is inevitable. 4 victories in a row as he tries to make it 4 championships in a row.
Yeah, 4 wins in a row, and basically the king of Wisconsin so far. I think he's unbeatable. He has double, like his 4 wins tops the 2 wins that the second guy with most wins have. So it's just that insane. But it was a good effort. He had to run for his money today. Connor Harrington did a really good job. Maybe some things here and there on the strategy might have affected the way towards blocker, but at the end of the day, the #1 car from Adrenaline Power Slide just reigned supreme. And with 2 races to go, it's 2 points. It can basically sneeze and get 2 points. So Connor has to do a inhuman job to get to the championship. So it's going to be an interesting race, nevertheless. Races.
I'd say at this point we shouldn't entertain the possibility that Harrington wins the championship, because I really think not only is he heading to a track where he's led every single lap in Lionheart IndyCar history next time at Belle Isle in 2 weeks' time, but then after that, the Auto Club Speedway, he's won both our Triple Crown races. Indy was a domination. Michigan, not dominant, but he stole it at the line. Dramatic race there as well. It's been an incredible season for him. Incredible season across the board as well. Ups and downs, just twists and turns. So many stories yet to be written. Let's talk about the series schedule very briefly one more time before we wrap up, because as mentioned, 2 weeks till we head to Belle Isle, and then 2 more weeks after that. The final race of the campaign, double point in a high-speed, adrenaline-filled affair from the Auto Club Speedway.
And you know what I like about Belle Isle? Because it is a street track and it has some similarities to what we saw at Long Beach. No runoff areas, barely any runoff areas, right, Arjuna? So any mistake is fatal. And so don't count out Connor Harrington, because the one mistake that can happen to Adam Blocker, he's back in the game. He finishes the car, he's back in the game. So it's going to be a very wild ride. And then Auto Club, it's all men by itself. There is no play, there is no driver's plates. It's going to be an interesting final race of the season to watch.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a race where it's very much every man for himself. How do you adapt to what we have then at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana? A high-speed affair, as mentioned, that is going to be incredible. Well, it's time to say goodbye then from America's National Park of Speed. But before we wrap things up, as always, we like to take the time to thank those who make all of this possible. For sim racers, the Butt Kicker Gamer 2 or Simulation Kit adds the missing driver-to-car connection, bringing more realism to your sessions. By accurately responding to in-game audio, you can feel the track like never before, providing increased vehicle handling and faster lap times. Are you ready for the most immersive experience in sim racing? For more information, visit thebuttkicker.com, and don't forget to use the promo code LION2021 for 20% off all orders. The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra-comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows that we're all gamers. For more information on HyperX products, visit hyperxgaming.com, and don't forget to use the promo code LIONHEART15, that's LIONHRT15 for 15% off all orders. The Sim Experience AccuForce Pro V2 is the premier professional racing steering system. The key to its incredible realism is the groundbreaking direct drive motor control unit, providing a driving experience that's second only to the real thing. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, visit simexperience.com. Minus 273 is the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, made of a breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit minus273.biz, and don't forget to use the promo code Minus 273 LHRS15 for 15% off all orders. Looking for entertaining sim racing content? Look no further than the DMLC Racing channel. Follow former Lionheart Retro Series Driver of the Year Mark Cohn's racing escapades as he battles for wins and avoids wrecks with cat-like reflexes. All while providing commentary sure to make you laugh, cry, or both. Follow along by subscribing to the DMLC Racing channel on YouTube and like his Facebook page at the DMLC Racing channel. And it's not just them, but so many more that make all of this possible. To learn more about the partners of the Lionheart Racing Series, visit LionheartRacingSeries.com, where you can also find out more information about the 3 competitions the Lionheart sanctioning body puts on. Well, it's going to be a long wait until we head to the streets of Belle Isle for our duel in Detroit. But if you're looking for more Lionheart action, make sure to keep up to date with the latest in the Lionheart series on social media. Follow them across Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For all your esports needs, ESTV has you covered. Follow them at the same channels, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. For sim racing action, RaceSpotTV has you covered. Subscribe to us by hitting the red button and the bell next to it to get notified every single time we go live with the great sim racing series that we get to cover. Plenty more Lionheart action to come next week. The Lionheart Retro Series breaks out the Lotus 79s on the streets of Long Beach. What a race that promises to be. Just a couple of more races left as the Lotus 79 Championship hangs in the balance with Matt Taylor ready to take a championship. For now, though, from Wisconsin, from Road America, for the entire team at RaceSpotTV, for Dougie Beard providing our cameras, for Lorenzo Bonder, my co-commentator, my name is Arjuna Kankipati. Adam Blocker is inevitable. 4 wins on the trot here in Wisconsin. He's got one hand on his 4th consecutive Lionheart IndyCar Series title. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time from the streets of Belle Isle. Until then, though, so long and goodbye.